Shane from SafetyLink. We're going to look at how to fit a safe working at heights harness. This is a video to give you some pointers on the best way to put the harness on and what to look for, but should not be considered a substitute for a safe working at heights course. The harness we're going to be putting on today is harness 9 from the allsafetyshop.com website, and it's a span set harness. It's a basic model and it should cover all intents and purposes that we need. The first thing that you need to find on this harness is the big steel dorsal attachment ring. That's this ring here. This will be located between your shoulder blades. Find that ring, shake the harness out, and that should untangle any of the tangles with the straps. The next thing you need to do before you consider putting it on is make sure the harness has its identification tag. That's this tag here. We're looking on this tag to make sure that the harness complies with the relevant Australian standard, which will be marked clearly on the harness, where it is here. Also, we're looking for the manufacture date and the removed from service date on the harness. This harness here is to be removed from service by 2022. The harness has a 10-year shelf life. That is, if this harness was to live in a plastic bag, out of sunlight, away from chemicals and in a dry environment, on the shelf it's suitable for 10 years. However, as soon as it's taken off the shelf and put into an in-service life, so the first time it's used or worn or taken out, then it has a 5-year service life. Now that's considered a maximum service life. So if your harness is out there and it gets in the sun, it takes a fall, it suffers any damage from wear or abrasion on the worksite, that will reduce that 5 years. So it's only a maximum of 5 years, but it could be as little as a week, depending on what you do with it. Next we're going to look at putting the harness on. So back to the D-ring, grab the D-ring, shake it out, it's all clear. We want to do some visual inspections. We want to first look at the webbing. We want to feel the webbing as we look over it, and we're looking for abrasions or cuts or any discoloration that might be on the webbing. This could be from UV, sunlight, water or chemicals. Checking all the webbing straps, rubbing your hands down them and making sure that they look safe and undamaged. Once you've completed all of that, the next thing you want to check is the stitching. Now this harness has contrasting colours with the stitching. The stitching's black and the webbing's orange, so you can clearly see the stitching and look for any damage. You're looking for loose stitches, frays, or any broken or discoloured stitching. So check all these points where the stitching is, you need to feel them as well. Once you're happy that all the stitching is correct and safe, the next thing you want to move on to is the buckles. Make sure that these adjuster buckles are not deformed, cracked, corroded, rusted. So check all of those buckles and make sure that they look safe as well. Next, the attachment points. So that's our dorsal D-ring. Have a look at that, make sure it's not cracked or deformed. And the last one we want to check on here is the soft attachment points, which are these ones located on the front of the harness. They've got a protective sheath over the outside, make sure that's not damaged. If that's damaged and worn through to the webbing inside, it's no good. Now we're ready to put the harness on. So, holding it by that rear dorsal attachment point, open it up, have a look, and you may need to slacken off the chest straps so that you can fit it easily. Make sure that the chest connector is open, and then your leg loops down here, they either need to be slackened out so you can get them on, or in this case we can open them up to make putting the harness on a lot easier. Now, finding the shoulder straps, they're running off here, off of the dorsal attachment. We're going to put it on like a jacket. So one arm through, the other arm through. Make sure none of the straps are twisted and that they're untangled. Then, before we go any further, make sure that the dorsal attachment point is located between your shoulder blades. Moving back to the front, it's best to start at the top and work your way down. So, go to the chest attachment and secure that. You don't need to tension it just yet. We'll go down and we'll attach all the straps first. So do your leg loops, making sure, feeling through from the back, making sure there is no twist, bring it around to the front, and then you can connect it. Do that with both leg loops, making sure there are no twists. Once you've got that, you're best to come back up to the top again. Tighten up the chest loop first, the chest strap first, then working on your shoulder straps. This will pull your leg loops up. And then move on to your leg loops. Pull them in snug, but not too tight. Before you go any further, make sure that dorsal attachment is still between your shoulder blades. Now that we've got that right, we can start again going back. We want to get rid of all these loose straps because they're going to get snagged or caught on the work site, throw you off balance, or force you to drop something. So, loop them up, nice and tight, and tuck them into the elastic retainers. Working your way through all the straps like this. Okay, next you need to check that the straps are tight enough. So while standing up straight, because when you bend over, straps can loosen a little bit, make sure that they're nice and snug. You need to check your leg loops. You should be able to fit 2 fingers underneath the leg loop. If you can't get 2 under, that's going to be a bit tight and cause problems with circulation. You should not be able to get a fist down under that leg loop. So checking both of them and making sure they're correct. Now your harness is ready for use. For you to connect onto your dorsal with your lanyard or rope line, or if you're clipping across the front, in this case, our chest connectors are soft connectors. There's 2 of them. You need to use 2, and you need to make sure that your carabiner goes through both of them to make it nice and safe, and you're ready to go.